So span of control is the number of people reporting to a given manager. It seems like a really simple concept, but it actually has rather profound implications for the organization. And so it used to be that that the appropriate span of control was believed to be 5 people. So a manager could only effectively and efficiently manage 5 people at a time. Any more would hurt the effectiveness. Any less would influence the efficiency. And so there was this belief around 5. But we have learned that span control can be wildly different than 5. In some cases, it needs to be less. Some cases, it needs to be more. Now, this has some pretty profound effects on side of the organization. So the wider the span of control, it means the less managers that are needed. The less managers that are needed means the less promotional opportunities that exist. During the late 80s and early 90s, there was a massive downsizing that took place in American businesses. And this was caused by basically a shift in span of control from that number of 5 to a much larger number. And then, of course, now that mid-level manager positions have been cut, now career path has been affected as well. And so the effects of changing the span of control can be relatively big for this, what seemingly is a small thing. Now, there's lots of things that influence span of control, and we'll get into some more details on that in just a moment. But the complexity of managerial responsibilities is a big determinant of the width of span of control, as well as the configuration of an overall organization. Some organizations, if they're focused on overall efficiency, are going to have certain sizes of span of controls, whereas other types of organizations that are going to be more trying to be responsive to the environment are going to have different types of organizations with organizational structures characterized by wider span of controls. Now, in terms of the various things that influence span of control, there's a lot of things, such as centrality. So where that manager is in relation to the overall organization. Are they central to the business functions, what we'd call a line position, or are they more of a support position? The capacity of the manager to do things, the planning that is taken place. All right, the more planning that takes place and the better that planning has been communicated, the wider span of controls that you can have. The various natures of the responsibility. So if it's a type of work that is repetitive and it's easy to detect deviations from the standard, then you can have a much wider span of control than if the work is less standardized. Also, the staff that you're working. All right, the capacity of the direct reports is a big influencer of span of control, because the wider span of control that you have, the more autonomy your direct reports need to have. All right, so can they deal with that? Also, the number of supervisors. If you don't have a lot of supervisors, then you're going to have a wider span of control. All right, and then finally, methods of communication. If you have good methods of communication, then you can probably get away with having wider span of controls.